Hello, hello. May peace and blessings be with you. Assalamu alaikum, my dear sisters. If you are here with me live, let me know. Say salam, say hi. Before we get started, I thought I would share a personal experience because so many times we feel that when the experts are sharing things, they have it all figured out. We were talking about this last week as well. So one of the biggest fears we have when we're working with technology is making mistakes. What happens if we mess something up? What happens if we make a mistake? I want to let you know that all of the experts who are learning, they're also making a lot of mistakes on a daily basis. They're making mistakes, they're learning from those mistakes, and they keep going. When I started working, my very first job, I'm almost embarrassed to tell this story, but I think I need to share this because this will really resonate with you. Long time ago, about 2 decades ago, when I started working, my very first job was at the college where I went to school, Goldie Beacom College. I was a computer lab assistant. I loved that job. My job was to make sure everybody is connected to the computer they're using in the computer lab and they don't have any like hardware, software issues as they're completing their projects and doing their homework and things like that. I got to meet a lot of people while doing this job and learning this job. Initially, I was not really that good at it. I knew that I wanted to be helpful. I knew that I wanted to learn. So I would show up every day and I would just say, I'm going to see, who I can help today. I remember one time a student came in. I think she was attending night classes, but for some reason that day she was trying to finish her project or something. She came in earlier and she brought her project on a floppy disk. I don't know if you remember what floppy disks used to look like. There were these little square disks that you would pop in the floppy drive, and she was trying to finish her preparing her database. Our policy was to store all your work on the computer and then copy it over to your drive, either like a CD or a floppy drive, a floppy disk, and then take it with you. What had happened with her was she was trying to save the database after doing all her work, and she was getting an error. It was not writing to the floppy disk. She kept getting an error, and she asked for help. I went over there to help her, and I looked at it, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe your file that's on your floppy disk is not working. Just delete it and resave from the computer. In my mind, I was thinking it was saved on the computer. Turns out it was not. The only copy she had was on the floppy disk, and I had just made her delete it. As soon as she deleted it, she tried to come back and look for it, and it was gone. And it was gone forever. And I was mortified. She was really upset, and rightly so, because she had done a lot of work and it all got deleted because I didn't think about saving it onto the computer, because in my mind I'm thinking it's already saved. Clearly 2 decades later, I still haven't lived that down. But I'm sharing this because I have made every mistake in the book to learn technology, and I continue to make mistakes, but I don't let my mistakes hold me back. I just keep going. If I break something, then I can fix it. I can rebuild it. Okay, so enough about this funny little story. Let's dive into today's topic. Today we're going to talk about building a tracker using Google Sheets. Google Sheets is so powerful, and I'm even wearing green today because I'm staying on brand with Google Sheets today. So should we get started? Okay, let's do it. I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 minute. I am going to make sure I'm using a new camera as well. And okay, we're going to show this on stream, and I will hide in the background over here. Okay, so I hope you're able to see my screen. Okay, so where I'm starting is my Facebook Live content folder in my Google Drive. So I want you to be logged in, go to the folder or the drive where you want to create your new tracker. I'm keeping everything in this folder for now as we're going over things because it'll be easier for me to find it later. That's like my organization system. We can cover that some other day as well. Okay, so first I'm gonna create one from a blank spreadsheet. Let me think. Should we do a blank spreadsheet first or should we try to do one from a template first? Okay, let's try the template first because I want you to see how easy and simple it is just to get started with a very simple task tracker. If that's all you need, then I'm seeing some chat coming in. Oh, my tracking camera is cool. Yes, it's my new fancy camera. I'm loving it. It's called Lumina, Lumina. If you would like to get one, put the word Lumina in the chat and I can help you get a discount code so you save $25 on it. Okay. So let's create one from a template first, and then we'll do one from scratch. Okay. So I right-clicked anywhere on the white space here. I hovered my mouse over the Google Sheets, clicked on this little arrow, and then I am going to select from a template. Okay, so it's going to show me a bunch of templates here. I am going to look for one that says a task tracker or to-do or something like that. There we go. This looks beautiful. Let's grab this one, to-do list. So as you know, we've done this before with forms. If you click on it, it does not show you a preview. It actually creates a copy of that template in your drive. So I'm going to just go back to this previous tab so I can show you. Look, there it is. It's to-do list. It named it that and it added it here. So just like that, it's a very simple task tracker. You can start adding a date and a task, and when you're finished, you just check the box and it crosses it off and you're done. So this is one of the simplest ones. And if you want to sort the list, you can click on this little filter button up top and you can sort A to Z, which will sort all of the ones that haven't been finished first, or you can sort Z to A, which will show you all of the completed items at the top. So this is one of the easiest things to do. If you are not currently using a tracker, you can get started with this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little fancier. I'm going to go back and we're going to create one from scratch. And I think I want to try to explain a little bit why you may want to use this tool. So when you're building a task tracker just for yourself, you can pretty much use an app. There are a lot of different apps that let you just add a task and you check things off. For the longest time, I was using something like that. But when you're working with other people, when you're collaborating on a project or working with a team, or there are a lot of moving parts, you do want a system that you can share with other people as well. There are a lot of project management software, things like that, subscriptions that you can get. Monday.com is one. I use Anywhere. There's Smart Sheets. There is a whole bunch of other products that are out there that you can get, which have a lot of workflows built into them. You add a task, you add a due date. You can send in reminders to people. You can assign it to people and it'll alert them that there's a task in their name and things like that. If you're working on larger projects and bigger teams, I would highly, highly recommend those because they really let you do project management in a very comprehensive way and you don't really miss anything. All the notes and things like that get stored in one place. So those are really, really powerful. But they also come with a cost. Pretty much all of them. Some of them have some free versions, but only for either like a limited time or a limited number of people. So if you want a system that is simpler, does not have full workflows in it, but it's enough to help you collaborate with other people, I think Google Sheets is a really good option. We use Google Sheets for a lot of the volunteer roles that I serve in. We use one for Toastmasters. We use one for the ISD, tracking our tasks and things like that. So we get a lot of mileage out of Google Sheets and the trackers there. So let's go back and create one. Okay, so this time I am right-clicking on the white space, clicking on the arrow next to Google Sheets, and I'm saying start from a blank spreadsheet. So what I like doing is this is just how I always get started. I always give my spreadsheet a name. I'm going to say team task tracker. And I usually leave a few rows at the top empty. And I don't know, I'm just strange like that. I fill in the content and then I go back and label it because I think that makes it a little bit easier for me. Okay, so any good task tracker, I want you to, at a minimum, add 5 things to it. At a minimum, you want to have 5 things in it. Please jot these down. I want you to always have a task number because it makes it so much easier to refer to your task. If you're sending an email or something like that, you can say, task number 4, task number 5, this is what I'm talking about. So add a task number all the time. Definitely a task description. You always, always, always want to have an action owner for that task. This is something I learned from a superstar project manager long time ago when I was working at Deutsche Bank. And I really, oh man, my mouse is jumpy today. Okay, so I am just making it a little bit bigger so my task description has a little bit more space. If I double click on it, on the edge right here of this column, it auto fits the column to the text that's in it. So task number needs less space, task description needs more. So I'm just adjusting the column width. Okay, you always want to have a status column. And I always love to have comments in there because you definitely need space to, jot down at the end. Sometimes, how you resolve an issue or something like that. So this is a very basic task tracker. The columns we would add to it. I am going to make it a little bit prettier. I'm going to make it bold. I am going to make it centered. And I'm also going to give it a border. So I'm going to click on this little border button and I'm selecting this bottom border option, which will, I should not have done that. I have the whole row selected, so let's not do that. So I am gonna only select the first few cells. And the way I did that was I clicked on the first cell, I held my shift key down and I clicked on the last one. That way it only selects the cells in range. Now I'm going to click on this border option and select the bottom border. Okay, so while I have this selected, let's do one other thing. I like making it prettier. Let's make it, what color do you want to give it? Light blue. I usually like light blue for column headers. This is a nicer blue. Okay, so there we go. We have that. Okay, so now we're going to do a couple more things. So for status, I want you to think about what are the definitive statuses you're going to have for your tasks. There can be not started, there can be in progress, there can be completed. If you want something like stuck, so when I'm building a task tracker for teams, I do want things that people are stuck at to pop out a little. So I a lot of times would add that as one of the statuses in the column. So basically our options are, I'm going to just jot them down right here. Not started, in progress, stuck, and complete. Right? Those are the 4 statuses. Okay, so let's make it so we make it a drop down right here. So people can make a selection from a drop down instead of having to type that in every time. Because if you let it be a free form text field, you're going to get all kinds of variations. You're going to get uppercase, lowercase, space, no space, all different ways because we all have our own different writing styles. So to keep it a little bit contained, this is what you want to do. You want to go to this cell. Or if you want to do it for a whole bunch of them at the same time, you can highlight a whole bunch and select those. I'm just going to build one for one cell because if it works for one cell, then we can just copy it down. So I'm in this cell. I'm going to go to data, my jumpy mouse, pardon that. Click on data validation. Okay, so now over here, we are going to add a rule. So in the rule, we're saying for this sheet 1, cell D6, give me a drop down, and here are the options. It's giving you options. What do you want the options to be? I want to say not started. Option 2 is in progress. I want to say stuck. And I want to say complete. Okay. So I don't know about you, but complete usually is green. So we can just color it green. And this is new. This used to not be there, but definitely Google Sheets is coming a long way. Okay. Anything that's stuck, I want to mark it at least pink, if not red. In progress would be yellow. Not started would be blue. I usually like giving not started a blue color. Okay, so are we good so far? I hope this is clear. So we're basically building a list of all the options that we want to have in the dropdown. You can just hit done and be done with this. If you want to see some advanced options here, it can do the following. Show show help text for a selected cell. So you can check this box and you can give them a little prompt. So if someone doesn't know what to do with it, you can say select from a dropdown. Select a value from a dropdown. I usually like doing that. I think it's just nice. You're guiding your end users through the options that are there. If the data is invalid, reject the input or show a warning. So the difference between these two is if you say reject the input, it will not take it. If someone tries to type in not complete or something like that, it will not take that entry. So you can mark it so it rejects it, or you can say show a warning but accept it. Like it'll show a warning that there's something wrong, it doesn't meet the validation, but it will still accept the value. I personally like doing reject the input. That's the whole reason why we're creating this dropdown, because I want to get specific text back from my end users. Display style, I'm going to leave that at chip. I think we're good. Okay, so this is looking good. Let's test it out. Ooh, look, this fancy. This used to not be so colorful and nice. I like it. Okay, so let's test it. We'll say task number 1. We're going to say, we'll make it create a task tracker. Action owner. So for this, we can do the same thing. We can load this from a list, just like we built this list over here. We don't need this anymore. This was just there for demonstration purposes. So we can load this from a list also. You can build a static list like I built here, or you can load from another space where all of your action or owners are listed in a different spreadsheet. So this is also very powerful. So for now, I'm going to leave it as is, because you're basically going to create a similar dropdown just like we did. So we'll leave it alone for now. We'll come back to it because we're going to do this one more time. Okay, and then any comments we want to have, I'm going to just assign this one to me, and I'm going to say I am in progress of building this thing. Comment is living the dream of building this tracker. Okay, so I hope this is so far making sense. I'm going to go to the top now. Now that I have a little meat in my spreadsheet, I'm going to add the title. Okay, team task tracker. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to say, I also like giving a date, but I'm just thinking, do I want to say last update date or just leave it alone for now? I think we can leave it alone for now. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is how you build a super simple, easy task tracker. Let's make it a little bit fancier. What if someone makes a selection for in progress and you want to highlight the whole row? Do you want to see how to do that? Wouldn't that be cool? Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Okay, so I am going to start with that. That is under conditional formatting, because that's all that is. They're using this conditional formatting in this template also, where if someone checks this box, it is basically making the text, I think, dark gray, and also striking through the text. So it's just conditional formatting. That's all that is. So we can come back over here and apply some conditional formatting. Okay, so what is conditional formatting? Conditional formatting is we're saying make the format of a cell or a row or a column based on certain criteria. I'm going to give it criteria. I'm going to tell it which range to apply it to, and then I'm going to tell it what format I want to see if something happens. Okay, so conditional formatting. Once again, it's opened up a new pane on the right for me. Okay, so here I basically want to apply the format to from A6 to D6. So basically I'm giving it range, or you can just click on here and you can select the range. Either way, right? You can do this. Not D6, E6, sorry. So you can select that or you can type it in. Either way, it works. Okay, so as soon as you come in here, it's already applying some formatting, and it's applying formatting to based on if it's not empty. This is the default. This is what it comes up with. A sister is saying salam wa alaikum assalam. Thank you for being here with me live. I'm not able to see your names because there is, I think Melon app needs access to your Facebook account. If you just go to melonapp.com/Facebook and just say yes to their prompt, then next time you send a comment, I will be able to see your name. I'm using Melon app for going live. Okay, so here we are. What are we doing? Okay, conditional formatting for the row. Okay, so it's already applying a format by default. So I'm going to change that. I change the range to from A6 to E6 because I want the format to be applied to the whole row. And over here, I'm going to say, build a custom formula for me. And the formula is going to say equals $, my column that has the text I want to check for is in column D. I'm going to say D6 equals, in double quotes, in progress. So if it is in progress, then apply this format. Now, what format do I want it to apply? I want it to make it light yellow. Is this a beautiful light yellow? Yeah, that's light yellow. So make it light yellow, and that's it. I don't want to do anything else. I am happy with the text size. I don't need to bold it. I don't need to do anything else. Basically, I'm saying when this cell turns in progress, change the color of the background of that cell to yellow. Super simple conditional formatting. Click done. Okay, let's test it. What happens if I say complete? It doesn't do it. What happens if I say not started? It doesn't do it. What happens if I say in progress? Ooh, it applied the format. How cool is that? Pretty cool, right? Okay. So what I want to do is, I want to see if I delete this. Let's copy this down. I'm going to copy this and copy down maybe a few cells. Let's see. Cool. Okay. By doing that, it already has the drop down copied down for me, right? Okay, question came in. Does every formula start with equals and $sign? There's a reason for that. Not everything is going to start with that because sometimes I think you just say type the text. I think it'll take it. We'll play with that. We'll check it out. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed this. When I copied it down, it automatically expanded the range of this custom formula. So even if I go to this cell now and let's see, it says D6 I didn't do it. Okay, let's try. Let's try one more time. See, we're learning as we go. Okay, let's update this. We're gonna say, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna say, oh, I know why, because it created a separate ranges. Okay, so we're gonna fix that. We're gonna say, go from A6 through E whatever. So I'm holding my shift key down, going from A6, holding my shift key down and clicking on the E6 cell. So it puts it as one range. Okay, so now I'm doing that and let's try this now. There we go. So now it's basically applying the same formula to all the rows. Okay, so what happens if I don't put the equals there? It is not applying it to anything. So equals is needed. And if I don't put the dollar sign, it by default only applies that format to the first column, because I think then it doesn't know that it's for the whole row. So the dollar sign basically tells it it's for the whole row. I hope that answers the question. So it seems like equal is needed, but the dollar sign is when you're specifying which column to apply it to. If I'm saying dollar sign, the whole, it's taking the whole row. Okay. All right, so we built one rule. Let's build two more. Actually, three more. Let's build three more. Let's try something. I want to see if it'll let us duplicate a rule. No, it doesn't. Normally, like it would have the ellipsis next to each of these options if we want to, wrong option, format, conditional format. Okay, so it's not letting us copy it, but it's okay. We'll build a new rule. We're good at this. We need practice. Okay, so I'm going to select a range one more time. I'm going to say A6 through shift key down through E20 for now. Later we can change it. Okay, so this time we're saying if custom will build a custom formula, we're saying equals $D6 stuff for the first row. D6 equals not started in double quotes, exactly how it shows up. If it's not started, then I want to make it light blue, super light blue. Okay, so let's test it. Working, beautiful. Then, oh, we are able to put them in the right order also. So by doing that, you're making sure which rules get applied first in which order. Okay, so first one is blue, next one is yellow. Let's do stuck. Okay, one more time. We're gonna say range is A6 through E20. Click OK. I'm gonna go down in the format rules to custom formula is, and we're gonna say equals $D6 equals stuck. So this time I want to say make it like pink. You can even make it bold if you want. Bold? No. Because I want that to really stand out when I come to this sheet, because I want to make sure I'm helping the team if they're stuck on something. That's like priority number one. Okay, so that one's done. Let's do one more. Okay, so it's so smart because we already had it selected. It's like, all right, you already have it selected. I know which range you want to build this rule for. Go to custom formula. Over here, we say equals $D6 equals complete. So when it's complete, I'm going to leave it light green. I'm liking that. But I want to do one other thing. I want to just do a strike through because I wanted to just cross it off. I'm done with it, right? And you can even change the text color if you want. You can make the text color gray, but I'm going to leave it black. I think black would be nice. You could still see it on the green, especially if we're doing strike through. Okay, so I am going to hit done on here. Okay, so just like that, we've built the rules. Let's test them out. Okay, so First one is not started. Second one is in progress. Third one is stuck. And fourth one is complete. I did this backwards. It's okay. I'm allowed. Test one. Test. Yeah. There we go. So if you had 4 tasks, after you make the selection, it will basically apply this formatting based on what you have told it. Okay, let's do this. Let's try this one more time. So if I take away these values, so for example, we have 4 tasks. They're assigned to, let's just assign them all to me. Okay, so once we have completed this task, it'll mark it complete. Once basically we'll be adding tasks and we'll be updating status as we go, right? So when we're doing this with teams, a lot of times we have touch points once a week or every couple of days. So at that time we're reviewing to make sure, you know, how we're making progress on our tasks and things like that. Is anybody stuck? Does anybody need help? Are we as far along as we need to be? When you're putting a project plan together, you know, you basically need to figure out some milestones for the different phases of the project. So I hope this was helpful. Next time when we meet, we're going to take it a step further. I'm going to help you put together a form that can also be used to add input to this tracker, right? So I know we covered forms previously for getting input from people, but essentially after you have created a task tracker, if you don't want to come in here every day, you want to just add tasks to it from a form, we can certainly create a form and link it to this. So that can also happen. So we'll cover that next time. Do you want me to recap or are we good? I do see some people are still logged in. So I am here. If you have any questions, let me know. And I can do a quick recap also if needed. So when we first got started, if you just need a simple to-do list, you can come to any Google folder. I want you to go to the drive or folder where you want to create it. You right click on the white space, hover your mouse over this, Google Sheets, and select from template. Then from that list, you look for to-do list. As soon as you click on it, it'll create a to-do list for you, which looks like this. You can, you know, very simply start using that by adding tasks, adding a date, and checking things off as you're done. If you want to build a little bit of a fancier task tracker, then we started from scratch. We basically started a new blank spreadsheet. I should say Google Sheet. New blank Google Sheet by right-clicking on this white space, coming over here and clicking on this blank spreadsheet. Then we added a few columns to it. I said we always want to make sure we have these 5 columns, which are task number, task description, action owner status, and comments. We built a validation for status. So I want the input for status to be one of these 4 choices and not just anything people want to add to it. My team wants to add to it. So to build that, we went to data validation. We went to the data tab, clicked on data validation. From here, we basically built a list. We said, show us a dropdown with these choices. And if you click on advanced options, we check this box. We said, show the help text for a selected cell. Reject the input if it's invalid. If they don't pick one of these options, reject it. Don't accept that value. And we hit done. This is how I created it. We could very simply copy it down. Then we went to conditional formatting because we want to color our tasks in different colors. If something is in progress, we want to show it as yellow. If something hasn't been started yet, we want to mark it as blue. If somebody's stuck, we want to mark it as red. If someone is finished with the task, it's complete, we want to cross it off and mark the row as green. So to build that, we simply went to Format. From the menu, we clicked on Conditional Formatting. From here, we built a new rule. We added, by clicking on add a new rule, first you have to specify the range. So to pick a range, you click in the first cell where you want to start, keep your shift key down and go to the last cell where you want to end. We're basically building a rule where we want it to color the whole row that has text. Okay, so it selected this range A6 to E20. Then for the format rules, we went to the drop down to the last option, which is custom formula is. Clicked on that, then we built a custom formula. We started with an equal, then we used a $ because we wanted to apply that format to the whole cell, to the whole row, sorry. Okay, so the formula I wanted to evaluate is in column D. I'm picking just the first cell in the range. I'm saying B6. If B6 equals, let's say, not started, and apply a format style that I give it. So let's make it purple to be fun. Okay. And let's change the text color to white. Why not? Okay, so I am applying this. So as you can see, it did not apply this new conditional format because it's already applying this blue conditional format to the same, because it's the same rule. So basically we've created two rules that are exactly the same, but with different formats, and it applies it in the order that they're listed. So if I moved this up on the list, it will apply it. So watch this. I'm going to click on it. If my mouse doesn't jump, oh, jumped. My silly mouse. Okay, go back to format, conditional formatting. All right, focus, Timmy, focus. Here we go. Okay, so clicking on this, holding and dragging it up. So if I drag it up, now it knows to apply this one first. So as you can tell, it made this row purple. So it's applying this format. Okay, so there are a few more steps we're going to cover next week. I'm going to show you how to connect a form to this. So you don't necessarily need to come in here to add your new entries. You can just go to a form and provide input, and your tasks will get added. That gives you a lot of flexibility because throughout the week, you want to be able to add tasks and things like that. Even if you're only checking the status every few days, you still want to have the flexibility to be able to just add tasks very quickly. You can always come into the spreadsheet and start typing, but I find it's a lot easier if you have a form. You can just use that as an input form and keep going like that. I will see you next week. If you have any questions, you can still add them as comments to the video, and I will pick them up and answer them during the week. Talk to you soon. Assalamu alaikum.